Hello everyone and welcome to Radiology Shorts. Today I am going to speak about MR spectroscopy in neuroimaging. MR spectroscopy is the best tool to non-invasively show alteration in metabolite levels. Even tiny metabolites with adequate concentrations can be detected by spectroscopy. It can be procured from several nuclei such as hydrogen, fluorine, or phosphorus. However, hydrogen is the matter of choice because of its high sensitivity and plentiful existence in large number of metabolites. The spectrum quality is evaluated according to two main criteria. First is the signal to noise ratio, which is the height of the metabolite peak in relation to the background noise. Second is the spectral resolution, that is the width of the peak, which determines whether the different metabolites can be separated from each other on the graph. Spectroscopy can be acquired using a single voxel or multi-voxel technique, and a voxel refers to the volume of element that is being sampled. For focal brain lesion, it is recommended that we use multi-voxel imaging, as we can get samples from the abnormal as well as normal areas for comparison. However, in case of diffuse brain diseases, single voxel MR spectroscopy is to be used, as the pathological changes are found diffusely within the brain parenchyma. One essential variable that is used in acquisition of spectroscopy is the choice of echo time. In short echo times, that is less than 30 milliseconds, the spectrum detects a large number of metabolites, and it is indicated in study of metabolic and diffuse brain diseases. It is useful in demonstrating myoinositol, glutamine glutamate complex, amino acids, lactate, and lipids. By using the intermediate echo times, that is approximately 135 milliseconds, smaller number of metabolites are detected. However, the definition of these peaks are better. The advantage of using an intermediate echo time is that it helps in differentiating lactate and alanine from lipids at around 1.3 to 1.4 ppm. There is a better definition of the baseline. Presence of lipids at intermediate echo time has got more significance than that observed at shorter echo times, and it has a more reproducibility and accuracy. Long echo times of approximately 270 milliseconds, it is primarily performed on 3 Tesla scanners for accurate depiction of lactate levels. There is less signal from Na, choline, and creatinine as relative to the baseline, and therefore the signal to noise ratio is lower. Now, how do we interpret the MR spectroscopy curve? The spectrum that we obtain is actually the radio frequency signals emitted from different metabolites. Each metabolite appears at a specific frequency, and this frequency is expressed as parts per million, that is ppm. This is represented on the horizontal axis of the graph. The vertical axis demonstrates the height of the metabolite peak, and area under the curve is determined by the metabolite concentration. The horizontal axis determines the frequency of the metabolite. The vertical axis determines the maximum height of the peak of metabolite, and this area under the curve determines the concentration of the metabolite. Let us see each metabolite in detail. First is the N-acetyl aspartate, which resonates at 2 ppm. It is present in the neuronal bodies and axons, and it indicates their viability. Therefore, it is accepted as a neuronal marker, and it is produced in the mitochondria of brain tissue, therefore not present in tumors outside the central nervous system. In normal spectra, this has the largest peak. So at 2 ppm, we get the peak of N-acetyl aspartate. Creatine, is a marker of aerobic energy metabolism. It is seen at 3.02 ppm. This peak is constantly present or practically present in almost all the graphs, and therefore it is used as a control value in relation to other metabolites. However, sometimes we do see a reduction in this peak occurring in brain tumors, mainly metastasis. So at 3.02 ppm, we get the peak of creatine. Choline resonates at 3.2 ppm. It is a constituent of phospholipid metabolism of cell membrane synthesis. Its concentration is increased wherever there is increased cell membrane synthesis or wherever there are large number of cells, for example tumors. Normally, its concentration is slightly higher in white matter as compared to the gray matter. So at 3.2 ppm, we get the peak of choline. Lactate is commonly not detected and it is the final product of anaerobic metabolism. Its presence almost always indicates a pathological condition. It is seen in case of cysts, infection, hypoxia, ischemia, or some neoplasms. It is seen as an inverted double peak on the spectroscopy curve at intermediate echo times at a frequency of 1.33 ppm. So at 1.33 ppm, we get a lactate doublet, which on intermediate echo times, it is seen as an inverted peak. Lipids are also usually not detected on normal MR spectroscopy. Only in pathological conditions in which necrosis occurs, example malignant tumors, inflammation, infectious diseases, an accentuated lipid peak is seen, signifying cell membrane degradation. Lipid peaks are seen at zero point 0.9 and 1.3 ppm. So at zero point 0.9 and 1.3 ppm, we get lipid peaks. Myoinositol, it is considered as a marker of glial function. It is generally reduced in hepatic encephalopathy and elevated in Alzheimer's disease or multiple sclerosis. This peak is seen at 3.56 ppm. At 3.56 ppm, we get a myoinositol peak. What are the indications of MR spectroscopy in brain? For tumoral pathologies, demyelinating pathologies, infectious diseases, metabolic diseases, and in case of epilepsy and degenerative diseases. Let us see the role of spectroscopy in each different CNS pathology. Role of spectroscopy in brain tumors. For differentiating tumor from other focal lesions like tumefactive demyelinating plaques, obtaining a definitive diagnosis of atypical ring enhancing lesions, for seeing the optimal biopsy sites, and for monitoring the response to treatment. This was a case of low-grade glioma in the left frontal lobe, which on spectroscopy showed a markedly elevated choline peak. Here we have two different spectra. The first one obtained from a low-grade glioma, the second one obtained from a high-grade glioma. We can see in both the cases there is an elevated choline to creatinine ratio with a nearly absent Na. Both the cases show a lipid lactate peak. In case of high grade glioma, the lipid lactate peak can be explained due to the central necrosis. However, low grade gliomas usually do not show any significant necrosis, and this lactate peak can be explained due to hypoxia and shift to anaerobic glycolysis. MR spectroscopy can also be used to differentiate a recurrent tumor from post-radiation necrosis. The first image shows a recurrent high-grade glioma. The second image is of post-radiation injury or post-radiation necrosis. Spectroscopy from recurrent glioma shows an elevated choline to creatinine ratio and a large lipid lactate peak, whereas in post-radiation necrosis we will never see an elevated choline peak. This can be used to differentiate both these conditions. Persistent lipid lactate peak will be observed in case of post-radiation necrosis. MR spectroscopy is routinely not indicated in case of meningiomas. However, it is interesting to see its spectra. It will show an elevated choline peak with nearly absent Na. Also, a typical peak is seen at 1.47 ppm, which is of alanine, and it is quite suggestive of meningioma. Another distinct peak is seen in case of meningiomas scanned on a 3 Tesla scanner. This is seen at 3.8 ppm, and it is thought to be due to a glutamine-glutamate complex. This is routinely not seen in case of 1.5 Tesla scanners and is observed only on meningioma scanned at 3 Tesla imaging. Lymphomas have a typical location in the paraventricular and deep white matter. These are avidly enhancing lesions showing restricted diffusion. On MR spectroscopy, an elevated choline peak is seen with increased choline creatinine and increased choline Na ratios. Also, we see a prominent lipid peak in case of lymphomas. This is due to the macrophages containing free lipids. Spectroscopy can also be used to differentiate a high-grade glioma versus a solitary brain metastasis. Increased choline Na ratio will be seen in peritumoral region in case of a high-grade glioma due to adjacent tumor invasiveness, whereas in case of brain metastasis, spectroscopy obtained from peritumoral region would be near normal. Now let us see the role of MR spectroscopy in case of hypoxia and ischemia. In case of newborn infants, quantitative assessment of lactate levels is one of the earliest imaging signs indicating a hypoxic brain injury. In adults, the Na decreases in case of ischemic brain parenchyma. Elevated lactate levels in the core of ischemic tissue correlates with the final infarct size. A progressive decrease in Na on follow-up MR spectroscopy is associated with ongoing ischemia and progressive infarct. This was a case of left MCA territory infarct. Spectroscopy was done after 24 hours of the onset, and it showed an elevated lactate and decreased Na levels. This case of perinatal hypoxia was imaged at 12 hours after the birth. T2 weighted images and ADC maps do not show any abnormalities. However, the MR spectroscopy shows an elevated lactate peak, which denotes an already undergone hypoxic ischemic injury to the brain. Role of spectroscopy in demyelination. Multiple sclerosis is one of the most commonest demyelinating disease. The lesions can be acute or chronic. Chronic multiple sclerosis lesions exhibit reduced Na and raised myoinocytal levels. Reduced Na levels can be explained due to the neuronal loss. Elevation of choline and reduction of Na are commonly found in case of acute MS lesions. Choline is raised due to a reactive astrogliosis and inflammation. A variable finding in acute MS lesions is the presence of lactate peak, and this lactate peak can be explained due to local ischemia, neuronal dysfunction, and inflammation. Active demyelination or myelin breakdown causes release of membrane phospholipids. This causes elevation of lipid lactate peak as well as choline. Remember, Na is reduced in demyelination and myoinositol is increased. Myoinositol is a marker of glial function and indicates astrogliosis or gliosis. Choline, lipid, and lactate peaks they return to normal after the acute phase of multiple sclerosis, whereas Na is the only metabolite which does not show even partial recovery several months after the acute phase is over. Role of spectroscopy in case of infections. Brain abscesses they affect several special metabolites including succinate, acetate, alanine, valine, pyruvate, leucine, lipids and lactate. In cerebral abscesses there are no visible peaks of Na or creatine because there are no neurons. If Na or creatine are detected, it can be due to signal contamination from adjacent brain parenchyma or incorrect explanation of acetate peak as NAA. Also, choline signals are usually not detected in case of abscesses. Differentiating a brain abscess from a cystic necrotic tumor can be problematic sometimes. However, it can be differentiated using MR spectroscopy as amino acids are not detected in case of brain neoplasms and its presence strongly indicates a cerebral abscess. This is a case of left cerebellar abscess. The MR spectroscopy shows amino acid peak at 0.9 ppm, a lipid lactate peak at 1.3 ppm, alanine at 1.5, acetate at 1.9 and succinate at 2.4 ppm. This is another case of cerebellar abscess. The MR spectroscopy shows amino acid and lactate peaks at 0.9 and 1.3 ppm respectively. Also, we see an acetate peak at 1.9 ppm. This should not be mistaken for an NAA peak which is seen at 2 ppm. Now let us see a few examples of metabolic brain diseases on MR spectroscopy. This was a case of Leig's disease, which is a mitochondrial disorder with progressive neurodegeneration. This case shows abnormal signal hyperintensity in bilateral basal ganglia, and spectroscopy obtained from the left basal ganglia region shows an elevated lactate peak. X-linked adrenoleukodystrophy. It is a paroxysmal disorder in which there is lack of oxidation of very long chain fatty acids, which results into inflammatory demyelination. The first baseline scan shows signal abnormalities in the posterior one-third of centrum semioval, and spectroscopy obtained from the anterior one-third shows a normal spectrum. 1 year later, there is further progression of these signal abnormalities, and we see an increase in myoinositol and choline peak. Also, there is reduction of the NAA. 2 years later, there is further progression of these signal abnormalities with further increase in myoinositol and further reduction of NAA. A small lipid lactate peak is also seen. The treatment for this condition is hematopoietic stem cell transplantation, and this treatment is effective only till we get a normal NAA peak. Canavan's disease is deficiency of N-acetyl aspartylase resulting into accumulation of N-acetyl aspartate, that is NAA, in urine, brain and plasma. This is the only disease which shows a markedly elevated NAA peak and is quite diagnostic for this condition. We have covered almost all the commonly faced CNS pathologies where MR spectroscopy is used. I hope you found this lecture useful. Hoping to see you all in my next lecture at Radiology Shorts. Thank you.